I was never a bad kid. I was never a bad person. I made a bad choice. My name is Milo. I'm from Syracuse, New York. I went out with some friends. We were 18 years old at the time. One of my childhood friends ended up bumping into a 27-year-old man. They started fighting, broke up the fight. Don't know who caused the actual injury or who had the actual weapon. The man was stabbed to death, and two of us were charged with the crime. I ended up taking a plea bargain and ended up having an 8 1/3 to 25-year sentence. You know, you hear the stories about prison, you hear the stories about, dropping the soap and all these other things, and, this day I can laugh about it, but then it was serious. No one ever tried to rape me or do anything like that. But they certainly picked fights, and I got involved in some fights inside prison. Eventually, I landed in the box for a weapons charge, and my father came to visit me and told me, hey, we're out here waiting for you. What's going on? Why are you getting yourself in trouble? This is not you. I ended up enrolling into a GED program. I did well. I passed the pre-test and ended up taking the G test and passed the GED test on my first shot. At this point, I was a pretty much model role inmate. I eventually ended up doing 16 years in prison. I was released on a conditional release. As soon as I came home, I had trouble finding work just like any other person who was released from prison. The transition was difficult. I felt excited. I felt relieved. Finally, I have a chance to live my life again. I was afraid to walk the street if the little sign didn't say walk with the little man, because I was afraid of maybe being picked up for jaywalking or something. Since I was released from prison, I've done nothing but social service type of work where I'm giving some type of assistance to individuals in need of some kind of motivation, of some kind of assistance and advocacy to become self-sufficient. Center for Community Alternatives, we offer alternatives to incarceration. My decision to work at CCA has been the decision that I decided since I was incarcerated to give back to the communities in need in the many positive ways that I can. I can use my experience as a teenager who made a poor decision that night. When I think about people being released today, I think about, are they coming to my community? Are they going to live in my community? Are they going to live in my neighborhood? What kind of people are being released? I want to know. Not everyone in prison is bad. Not everyone outside in our community is good. I want someone to be released into my community if they're being rehabilitated, if they're doing self-help programs, if they're going back to school, and they're getting a higher level education. There are a lot of communities who can use my story to learn from it and hopefully motivate them to make right choices. For the formerly incarcerated, they need to see an individual like myself and so many of us here who were released from prison and are successful at our community and successful at employment. There are many men and women who are successful at parole or being released from incarceration and never go back because they decide to be involved in positive programs that are being offered inside prison. There are many individuals that will be released from prison. How do we as citizens, how do we want these folks to be released? Do we want them educated? Do we want them with some kind of options when they're released? Or do we want them to commit crime again? My hopes and goals is to have a family of my own, buy a home, have a nice Alaskan Husky dog, and raise children in a great neighborhood, in a great setting.